Hi, everyone. So I hope everyone's Thanksgiving week is off to a wonderful start. And I thought I would stop by today and share this card that I made using Gerda Stein Designs Carol Kitten stamp set. So I am nearing the end of my Christmas card making for the season, and I am gearing up to start sending them out by early next week so that the recipients that I send them to have lots of time to enjoy them during the Christmas season. So I'd love to hear from all of you what your plans are with respect to sending out your Christmas cards. Are you, do you send them out on the early side? Do you wait till closer to Christmas? I figured this year, because I have most of my cards done already, why not just get them out as soon as possible? So that's what I will be doing in part this weekend after Thanksgiving. All right, so let's start focusing on the card. So I am making the background with some Distress Oxide inks, and I wanted there to be a little bit of a yellow glow. So I started with Squeezed Lemonade in the center, and then Twisted Citron, and then Mowed Lawn with a little black on the edges. So those are the colors that I used. And then along the bottom, I thought that I wanted my ground to be red and the walls to be like that greenish color. So I'm using Sponge Sugar in the center, and then Festive Berries, and then some black along the edges. So those are the colors that I'm using for the bottom. And I kind of like the way that this looks. It's kind of very Christmassy with the green and the red. And I'm just going to take the masking tape off our little characters, using my Tool-in-One to do that. And I'm just going to make a little border between the floor and the wall, just to make it clear where the top of the scene starts, or where the wall starts and where the ground ends. So for this first little kitten up front, we're going to color him. We're going to make him a little orange tabby. And I started with a base of Y21. And then my shadow color is going to be this E99. And then for the little ears, I colored in all the little ears on the little kitties with an R20, and then we'll add some more shading with either R22 or R43 later on in the video. So either of those colors would work for shading on R20. And then the other colors I'm using on this little orange tabby are YR27, YR24, and then the center part, that Y21. Now this little kitten on the right is going to be a little black kitten. So we're going to color him in with a base of C3, and then add our shadow color with C9, which is going to be the darkest color that we're going to use for our little black kitty. And I'm adding the shading like around the joints in his body, or any places that are like underneath the scarf area, along the tail, the edges of the hands. Those are the spots I'm adding my darkest shading. And then I blended out the C9 with C7, and then to C5, and then finally some C3 in the very center of the kitty's face. And on his little like thigh area, and where his elbow is, I kept those parts light. Now for this little kitty on the left, whose eyes are covered up by his Santa hat, we're going to make him a little white kitty. So I thought I would use some warm grays for that. So W5 is my shading color, and then I used some W3, and then tried to blend it all together with W0, keeping it really, really light in the center, and just using some double W00 there. Now this little guy on the top is going to be a nice reddish brown. So I'm going to use my E30s here. So base of E30, and then some E31, E34, and E35. And then I thought he needed to be just a little bit darker, so I'm going to add some E37 also. And for the hands, the paws, I guess, I'm focusing the shading like on the edges of the hands, and keeping like the fingertip or the fingernail claw area pretty light. For the Santa hats, you've seen me do this before. I'm going to put my highlight color in with my YR12, which is an orangey color. And then any areas where there's like a little crease in the hat and along the edges, any place there'd be a shadow, I'm using that R39, which is the darkest shade. I'm using it pretty sparingly, just kind of like an outline. And then I'm going to use R29 to blend out towards the center, leaving a little light area in the center. And then I'm going to take R24 and then YR12. Now for the fur on the caps, I am going to try to make them look kind of textured and fluffy by just dotting some B000 along the caps, and I'm just putting that on the edges and along the bottom rim, so not all over the entire cap, just certain little sections to add a little bit of a highlight. If you put it all over, it won't have the same effect. It'll just look like a bunch of dots, really. So you want to be a little bit sparing with where you put your little dots. And then I'm going to add some contrast with my W5, and I think I also use some W1. And every time I use a darker color, I just cover less space. So the most of the area of the hat has dots with the lightest color, and then the darkest color will have the fewest dots, if that makes sense. Now for the scarves, I thought I would give them all green scarves so that they match, because they're little carolers, and this is their little caroler costume. They're all wearing red Santa hats and then little bright green holly colored scarves. So I'm using my greens for this. I'm using G03 or G00 for the base, and then G09 for a midtone. And then I think I also have a little G28 for my darkest shading color. And now for little hymn books, I wanted to put some shading on them as well. So I'm using my BV31. You could also use a cool gray or a warm gray marker here, but the blue violets in the 30s, they're pretty close to gray. So I thought it would be fun to just try using that as the highlight color. I also think the purple matches nice with the red and the green and the orange. A nice contrasting color or complementary color. It just looks nice, I think. And now I'm just going to darken up the ears with the R20 and the noses with some R24. And now I'm going to give them some little polka dots on their scarves, just to put a little pop of detail into the scene, because we're not going to have snow here because this is an indoor scene, and I always like to have a little white gel pen. And now for the sentiment, I just cut it apart with a scissor. And don't worry, if you want to use it as intended, you can just kind of fit them back together like a puzzle. And I'm just going to arrange the sentiment on my card and use my Misty to make sure that if I want to stamp it again, I can, that the card is in position, using black VersaFine ink here. And now I'm going to add some little musical notes. These are also stamps that are included in the Carol Kitten stamp set by Gerda Steiner Designs, and black glaze pen on the little eyes. And that's it. So that's our card for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you give this card a try. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm sure you will too. And anyone you give it to will surely love it. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.